there, Naked Truth Guy on Periscope. Also, Cato Bell is in the chat as well on youtube.com/musicradiocreative. Good to see you here early. I thought I'd show up a little bit early, just pre-show here, just to have a chat with you. If you are turning up for the live stream nice and early. 2.5 minutes till we're live. Announce yourself in the chat. Let me know who you are, where you're watching from, and why you are here today. Lovely to have you here early, by the way. Really, really nice. Using the new mixing desk, so I can go into your left ear, like this, over into your left ear, or I can go over into your right ear, over here in the right ear. I do suggest that you wear headphones or you listen on some stereo equipment today. You're going to enjoy it. Afternoon to you, Joe. Joe Salmi. Happy Friday. It's always happy to be a Friday. Cato, the Soundcraft is ready to go. It's rocking. I'm loving it. It's fantastic. Got it hooked up exactly as I want it. Hopefully the audio quality will be good today. You have to let me know. Randy Roll. Hi to you, Randy, from the Bahamas. Michael Duffy. Hi to you. Good to have you back, Michael, from Warwick in Rhode Island. Rakesh. Good to see you again, Rakesh. Earl Hall Studio. Hi there. A voiceover. Nice. And we are going to go all around your head today using the new pan knob on my Soundcraft mixer. How much fun. Right, come on, get in there and let me know who you are, where you're watching from, and anything you want to know about binaural beats. We're getting into the 1 minute countdown. Here we go. Yay. And hello, we are live and direct. Whoa, let's switch on the lights. Did we pay the electricity today? Yes, we did. I'm Mike Russell from Music Radio Creative. It is great to be here and in the zone. Namaste. So, in this session, we're covering how to make binaural beats. But first, a disclaimer. Please do not listen to this live stream or watch this live stream or listen to the podcast on demand while driving or operating heavy machinery. Any benefits or any damage that you endure as a result of trying anything that I show you today, I am not responsible for, and you try it at your own risk at home. That said, let's get into the show. It's good to have you watching today, especially if you are a new viewer to the live stream. Please let me know who you are and where you're watching from. Always mention the comments during the show every 15 minutes. So the first time I'll get into the comments will be in about 15 minutes, okay? But please do chat away amongst yourselves in the chat, whether you're on youtube.com/musicradiocreative, whether you are on Facebook Live, Periscope or Twitch. Really great to have you. And by the way, that's my name over there. Mike Russell from Music Radio Creative. Your comments get featured on the screen, by the way, as well. So we'll get into that. Let's go into screen share mode, and I'd like to tell you about my Adobe Audition presets. I have been using them heavily this morning. Have a look at this multi-track session. This is a huge multi-track session. I've just finished the imaging package for a radio station in Africa, and it's a CHR imaging package. It's great. If we got time again towards the end of the show, I'll play you some new cuts. Done some music imaging, mixed together some bits of audio tracks from music songs. So if we get get time towards the end of this hour, I will definitely play you something from my multitrack there. Remind me in case I forget. So that's all to come for you today. But let's talk about binaural beats and what exactly they are in just a moment. So if you'd like to get those presets, it's mrc.fm/presets. That's mrc.fm/presets. There it is. That's the page if you're watching. You get the Adobe Audition session template that I use every day, plus 12 tutorial videos included to help you get underway with your producing and your production in Adobe Audition. Cato, I see, has posted the link. Let me post that in there for you, and you can click through and check out all of those presets. So let's talk a little bit more directly about binaural beats and what exactly they are. They're supposed to alter your state of mind, man, and take you to another place. There are basically 4 phases of binauralism or binaural beats, whatever you want to call them. You've got the, and it's a natural state, by the way. This is not anything mind wobbling or altering that we're doing. This is simply using audio to bring us into different states of consciousness. So every day, usually we're in a beta state of mind. We're kind of up there. Hopefully we're concentrating, we're focusing. Thank you for letting me know the mic gain is too high. I'm just going to turn it down a bit. Hopefully that sounds a little bit better now. So yeah, you get any better now? Do let me know, because I'm using a new audio setup. So would very much appreciate feedback on how the audio is sounding. Hopefully it's better now. So when we're in beta, we're at a concentration kind of state of mind, and then usually when we start relaxing, we go down into an alpha state of mind, finally then into theta, which is kind of meditation, and delta, which is kind of unconscious and sleeping as well, deep sleep and dreaming, and REM, rapid eye movement, all of that kind of stuff happens. Good to hear that it's sounding better now. So we're going to use the binaural beats, that generate effects inside Adobe Audition. Unfortunately, there is no longer anything like the brainwave synchronizer. And let me actually drag this. By the way, I noticed that that background is a little distracting there for you. So let me do that and give you my backdrop here. What I was going to try and do is show you a little retro clip for those of you who remember Cool Edit Pro. Hopefully you can see that on the screen now. Just dragging that over there. And that is actually a clip of the brainwave synchronizer. So I'm just currently showing the viewers to my live stream a little clip there of the brainwave synchronizer, which was from the old, really old Cool Edit Pro version 2.0 and version 2.1. Amazing stuff. You could do all kinds of interesting things with it to kind of generate interesting effects for your brain. But I'll show you how you can still do that in Adobe Audition during this session. So do not fear, it's still possible. But I feel maybe due to legal reasons and not wanting to play with people's brains, Adobe probably removed that feature. But I'll show you how to do it yourself if you know what you're doing. I'll also show you some really good plugins that you can download to make audio, tones, beats, white noise go all around your head as well. So some really good stuff you can do. But first of all, let's get into the waveform view. I'll go into my screen share mode and show you just exactly what we're going to do to start with. So it starts all here in waveform, and we will start a brand new audio file here, and then hopefully we will get a nice looking tone to play with. Now there are lots of presets and lots of things we can do here. So if I go into Effects, Generate and Tones. Now the idea of binaural is that you're hearing 2 different sounds by neural, so 2 sounds in each different ear. And this is something that you can do with the generate tone. So usually you get the default is a 440 hertz tone. You've probably all heard this if you played with generate tones before. There we go. I have turned down the gain, by the way. I notice you're chatting away. I'm going to turn it up a little bit as well. Hopefully I don't get too loud. So here we go. That is a standard tone. Now, if we wanted to start to go binaural, what we would do is maybe you want to get into a focused state of mind. We generate a different tone on each side, okay? So I'm first of all going to, I can use the mute keys over here. Let's actually switch off the spectral frequency, and I can mute either left or right or both sides and generate the tone. So let's go into generate tones, and I'm going to generate a tone on the right-hand side that will be at, let's take it down to around 200 hertz and have a listen to how that sounds. Okay, that's quite a low tone there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click OK to that, and then go over to the left-hand side and generate another tone. So to create that kind of binaural sound with the tones you're creating, you need to create a difference in hertz between your original tone and the new tone. So if we wanted to go for a beta state of mind, which is your concentration, still awake, awaking consciousness, and focused, so tone to focus your brain, you'd want to go for a between 13 and 25 hertz difference, okay? So say we'll go for 2, 1, 3. That's 13 hertz difference. As soon as we start going down to 12 to 8, we're in alpha, 7 to 4 hertz difference in theta, and then 1 to 3, we're in delta. So let's have a go at generating that. Now, if you've got headphones on and I play this in stereo, hopefully you should notice a quite interesting sound. Now, hopefully you can all hear that, and it's nice and loud. That is essentially your quintessential binaural sound, and you hear this in a lot of tapes that you would spend hundreds of dollars for, maybe to purchase, but you can actually create them very easily like that. If I wanted to, I could go back to the left hand side again, delete what I originally made, and I could create another kind of tone here. So let's make this one at delta, which is the super deep focus, concentration, almost unconscious kind of sound. So let's go for 203 hertz, and then we will put both of those channels on. Listen to how this sounds now. So again, and if you're listening to this in headphones, you should definitely notice that your your brain is starting to want to sync up to the sound of those tones. So for those of you still using Cool Edit Pro, wow, that's very retro indeed. So there we go. We've got a basic tone there. And what we can do is over time, just as if we look back at the this thing here, this is the brainwave synchronizer that no longer exists in Adobe Audition. But what we can do is we can create a similar effect, because what the brainwave synchronizer was doing, over time, it was taking you into different states of mind. So it would start off in maybe a beta state of mind, and it would take you down, right down into delta, and then you could kind of do whatever you want. And actually, in an upcoming show, I'm going to be talking about inserting subliminal messages into your audio. So if you wanted to, and you don't trust like buying those tapes where people stick in messages themselves, you can actually make your own reinforcement messages, and then you know exactly what's going into your brain. It's something you've said and not something someone else has said. So over time, we can change how these tones are. So let's start a new file here, and I'll show you how you would replicate the brainwave synchronizer in the current Adobe Audition CC. And remember, you try all of this at your own risk, particularly if you're listening for long periods of time. So say it's going to be a 10-minute meditation. Let's actually make this, let's say after 2 minutes, I want to be right down in delta. I want to be down in deep focus. So I'm going to generate a tone at 200 hertz here. And then on the other side, or actually when I generate that tone, what I need to do is I need to sweep the frequencies on one side. So not the first side. The first side is just a constant 200, just a normal 200 hertz tone. I might actually bring that up to 440, so that's something a little more audible. So let's go up to 440 here and generate something like this. Okay, and then on another channel, so the left-hand channel, what I would do is then generate another tone, but this time, as we're at 440, what we want to do is we want to go from a conscious state of mind, which might be, say, 25 hertz, above that, so we're going to go for 465 hertz. 465 hertz, and we're going to sweep the frequencies down to the end, and that is going to take us all the way down to eventually 441, which is a real delta state of mind. Okay, let's click OK and generate it. So remember, what we've done here is on the right-hand channel, we have generated a tone that does not change at all. It stays constant at 440 hertz. But the tone on this side, it goes down from 425 hertz to 441 hertz eventually, which will take you right through from beta, alpha, theta to delta. And subtle change, but you will notice now, if I play them both together, over time, this is slowly going to take us into a state of trance. And the further you go, you'll hear the tone is changing. And hear how it's changing. It almost feels like, if you could visualize the waves, it almost feels like the waves are kind of spacing out as you get closer and closer. So a great way to induce some kind of trance. And then when you get down to this state of delta, you probably want to keep it there. So we're going to effects generate tones. And I'm going to have on one side. Actually, let's use this already and put it in the multitrack, because essentially, when I have finished with this, this is going to be a multitrack production. So, new multitrack, and we'll call this Binaural. Getting to your comments in 2 minutes, by the way. Right, let's drag this one over and in. Here we go. And I'm going to pop this on the music channel here. Okay. Right, now I'm going to go and generate a long delta tone. So we want to start a new audio file, effects, generate tones, and the first one we are going to start at 465 and sweep down to 441. So that'll be again on the left-hand channel. Actually, no, we're not sweeping anymore, are we? We're staying at exactly the same. So what we want is switch off sweep frequencies. 440 on one side. And then on the left-hand side, we would like to have generate tones, and this will be 441. Okay, that's good. And that's 2 minutes in duration, so we might lengthen that out in the multitrack. So again, let's bring that Untitled 4 and pop that in there. Okay, so what we're doing is we're sweeping down and down and down and down and down, and then we stay in that state there, and we could maybe keep the listener in that state until around, say, let's call it nearly 6 minutes, and then after that what we'll do is we'll take people out of the trance by taking exactly what we did to induce it, by copying this audio, which is our original sweep from beta down to delta, and then paste it in and go to effects and reverse. It's very quick and easy, and then we can take our reversed, which again is Untitled 5 here, and pop this in, move this to the end. So this is going to work out to be pretty much an 8-minute meditation here. So as you can see here, we are going down and then staying in delta for 4 minutes and then back up again. Say we wanted to make it exactly 7 minutes, we can do a little time stretch on this. So it's exactly 7 minutes. 7 minutes. Everyone's got time for 7 minutes of mindfulness. And that sounds pretty good to me, but to avoid any clicking or clipping on that time stretch, I'm going to change it from a real-time stretch to a rendered high-quality stretch, which will take some time to render out, but it's worth it so that you get the best quality possible. Right, let's have a little look at your wonderful chat and comments that you've been posting in on Facebook, on YouTube as well, and also on Twitch and on Periscope. So over on Facebook Live, Krimu says hello. It's nice to see you there. And let's see what we've got so far in the chat on YouTube Live. So we've got Peter watching from Poland. Hello to you. What else have we got here? We've got Paul Orr at Paul Orr Productions in Tennessee. Nice to have you there and watching. Rakesh, new in audio and loving learning things, which is great. Michael's wondering if I've ever tried Waves plugins. Yes, I have. They're actually very good. I have tried them in the past. Certainly at radio stations I used to work at, they had loads of them, bundles of them, and they are very good. And I do hope to talk about them at some point in the future, actually. Felix is in from South Africa. Oh, wow. Paul Orr is listening on a 9-speaker Bose system in a Chevrolet. Sounds amazing. Well, just you wait till I do the 5.1 surround. That's going to be... Although I don't know if YouTube streams in 5.1 surround. It probably only streams in stereo. So you just have to take advantage of that. We'll do some good things with it. Bloody Dude YT is new to the channel. Good to have you there. David Silk is in, saying the audio sounding better, in from Adelaide, where it's around nearly 11 p.m. there now. Thank you, Cato, for the kind comments there. Really appreciate it. Mikhail, watching from Sweden, new viewer. Always good to welcome new viewers. Thanks for tuning in. Don LeBlanc, yes, hopefully we've fixed the overmodulating now with the microphone. It's a new audio setup. I've plumbed in today, so just trying to get it all to work nicely. Rich Brennan loved Cool Edit Pro. Sounds like a good thing to learn if you do podcasts for background music. Absolutely. In fact, when I went through the podcast store, I did notice there's a binaural beats podcast, so technically you could generate your own. What else have we got here? We got Rovigo 55 in as well. What else have we got? Mr. Mega Radio UK is in. Jan is in. How did I end up here? Well, however you did, it's lovely to have you here. Oh, yes, and David's reminded me of Alt Drag to make a copy of the clip. Let me try that right now, because you know how old habits die hard, don't they? So I'm just going to try your tip now. Alt and drag and see what happens. Oh, that's interesting. Did something funky with my my OBS broadcaster, but I still seem to be on. That scared me a bit for a second. Oh, yeah. That's actually pretty cool. I'm impressed with that. But for some reason, it keeps shutting my OBS broadcaster down. So, yeah, that's much better than right-clicking and copy here. Hey, that's awesome. I must have some kind of hotkey set up that's interfering or conflicting at the moment. But very much appreciate that, David. Great tip. If you want to copy clips, hold down Alt and then just drag them in the multitrack. Love that. David from Sunningdale, any chance you could help me understand markers, please? Yes, absolutely. Markers, you just place them anywhere in the multitrack. So I could place one here by hitting the M key and another one here by hitting the M key. And I could call this... well, I could actually right-click it, rename the marker, and say this is trance begins. And this marker here, if I rename that, that will be trance ends. And you can use it to sort of mark places in the multitrack or in your waveform that you want to come back to and edit later on. You can also change the type as well. So there's subclips, CD tracks if you're working with CDs, and cart timers, which are particularly interesting. So this, is, I think, is going into radio here, where you would have like the timer at the end of cart, where the next audio would fire in. So you can place a sort of end of file kind of marker as well, which is cool. Barb's there in the US. Voice isn't matching with mouth. Oh dear, definitely need to work that out. Yeah, brand new audio setup, and I'm curious actually, is anyone else experiencing sync problems on the live stream? If you are, I might try and tweak a little setting I've got here and see if it sounds any better, but I'll do that if anybody else says, hang on. Hopefully that clapping should show how in or out of sync it is. Alex is in from New York. Okay, cool. So now we're going to layer that up. Now we've got the basic trance induction tones here that have, again, taken you down from beta into a delta state of mind. You go from beta into delta. Joe's not having sync issues, okay. And then we stay in delta for 4 minutes, and then we go from delta back up to beta. in just a minute. So what I can do now, Cato says a little bit of audio lag. Interesting. But Michael says I'm synced up. And you're all watching on YouTube. Interesting. Okay. So mixed results for people. That's interesting for troubleshooting. Now I'm going to generate a brand new tone, and this is going to be something that's going to add some kind of almost white noise, because you can generate something that sounds a little bit like white noise, even in the generate tone. So I've just went for the preset minor to major, which actually in itself sounds pretty good, which is awesome. I'm going to make that a full 7 minutes so we can do some really cool stuff with that. This is, again, sweeping frequencies. We've got a square shape of waveform here. We're using 5 different frequencies at different levels here, which is amazing. And pop down into advanced as well. We've got a second channel phase difference as well, which is what gives us a little stereo effect as well on the voice. So plenty of really, really cool stuff going on now. But if I turn some of these dials up, we should generate a whole new effect. Let's watch how this changes. It's just going to take a time to generate. And that's the kind of sound I was hoping for. So we started with the minor to major preset, and then I just fiddled around with it slightly. If you go into generate tones here. So I changed the modulation rate, took that right up, modulation depth and the bass frequency all up. And you get this wonderful looking waveform in the spectral frequency display. As you can see, what looks like white noise, this looks very much like what white noise would look like. And you can see sweeping tones rolling through there as well. A great pattern to really enjoy. So let's drag that into our mix as well. So we're creating this wonderful binaural beat tape. No need ever again to spend hundreds of dollars on hypnosis tapes. You can make your own in Adobe Audition. So let's have a listen to how this is sounding now. And I'm going to start adding some effects now to the secondary tone here, because I want to make that a little bit distant. I don't want that to be the main focus. So a little bit of chorus and a little bit of studio reverb as well. We're going to keep the wet and whack the dry right down. Maybe chop off some of the high frequency and then mix that in with the original tone. And if you continued listening to that, that would definitely take you to another place if you were closing your eyes and enjoying that. So there we go. We've got the startings of binaural beats. What you could also do, and I kept some wonderful music tracks to play about specifically with this, is if you wanted, we could mute this out and we could actually mix this tone with a nice relaxing music track. And then to sweep through different frequencies inside your brain, what we can actually do is go to the music here and add on a, let's see, time and pitch shifting effect. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just zoom into this a little bit now. And we'll pop this down and we'll show the envelopes for that pitch shifter here. Transpose the ratio so we can kind of move that down. So it'll sound something like... So we can start moving it down and down. But it always stays there in the background as the music plays. You can hear the tones going down. But still remember, they're taking you probably into theta now. And finally, we'll get into delta as we reach the end of this induction. Probably at this stage we can increase the amplitude of the tones. I like the fact that this royalty-free track has a vocalist saying it's time for dream time. And we can even take this down further. Oh, now I like that break in the song there, just here. So just there, I'm going to kind of attempt to take the listener into a higher state of consciousness by moving the pitch up. Let's try it. Hang on, let's do it. Try and move along with the music a little bit, so when we get that lovely da-la-la, let's move it back up again. Try and move it in sync with the music here, the pitch. Maybe a little bit higher. And again, we could also use some effects on here, like a little bit of reverb as well. So let's have a look here at, let's go for a full-on reverb here. This is going to be rather a big effect. Actually, it might be better to go for a less CPU intensive effect, like the studio reverb. So let's try that. So we kind of bring it into the background a little bit. And then what we can also do is go into the waveform view and generate some noise as well. Now in just a moment I will explain to you how the noise works in Adobe Audition, because there's quite a lot of fun you can have with generate noise. And each noise that you can generate is different as well. But it's coming up on nearly halfway through the show right now. So let's take a look at some of the comments that you've been posting over in the chat at youtube.com/musicradiocreative, and also Facebook Live and Periscope and Twitch. Really do always appreciate you getting in and posting those comments. It's always really good to see your feedback and what you're saying about the show. By the way, if you just tuned in and you missed it, this wonderful thing here is the Brainwave Synchronizer from Cool Edit Pro. Unfortunately, Cool Edit Pro is no longer publicly available from what I understand, and also it only worked with like Windows, maybe even Windows 95. So yeah, we're having to regenerate some of those old school retro effects. What have we got here? So Mr. Mega Radio UK, good afternoon, Mike. I managed to place an order now. Now busy producing new background for my radio station app, as I have a new slogan launching in November. Awesome, nice. Joe Slamy just woke up. I love it. Are you going into that deep state of sleep? Hopefully this is chilling you out today. This is the idea of the show today. What else have we got here? I'm got Daft Cat Brewing. Clap was a little bit out of sync, so definitely need to sync up my audio after this and have a play. Yes, new equipment, new audio interfaces, changes everything, changes the game, right? But I'm very, very pleased with my Soundcraft Signature 12 MTK mixing desk. It's what I'm using to do this show, and I can go over to your left ear or go over to your right ear if you're listening in stereo, which is pretty good fun. Hello, Marius from Romania. Nice to have you there. Well, yeah, absolutely. Joe's right about sometimes you get lag on the channel just due to your ISP and the speed of your ISP. D8400 says I need to get rid of the beard. Really? Oh, I did actually. I shaved it right down, but maybe it's just coming back. So what else have we got? Campoxanto is in from the Philippines, which is really, really cool. Yeah, Joe feels like his brain is going from left to right. Certainly it can feel that way, can't it? Yeah, Cato is a little bit worried about the singing alert there. Yes, I'll try not to sing. Cool Edit Pro works in Windows 7. Interesting, Don. I had no idea. How would I get Cool Edit Pro to run on a Macintosh then? Gatto, padding law needs calibrating. Can you go into further detail on what exactly you mean by that? Is the panning not working for you? It's not going left to right, right to left, left to right. It's not doing that kind of stuff. I've also got this cool effects return now, so I can kind of speak with a reverb voice there, which I quite like. It's kind of cool. It's like the old radio hosts. They'd have a bit of subtle reverb on their voice and announce the songs in a really powerful way. Yeah, you can do all kinds of stuff on this desk. Like there's another one that, what did I play with earlier? Played with rotary. Let's have a listen to this. Hello. Ooh, yes. Very interesting indeed. Or we've got a kind of a lo-fi delay. Hello. 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 So yeah, hours of endless fun with the effects back. Yeah, Don LeBlanc says you could definitely run Cool Edit Pro with an emulator. So yeah, interesting stuff. Maybe it's time to get an emulator and get it running. Some gain is higher than the single channel. Okay, this is another thing to look into and hopefully get working correctly. Have a fiddle with my mixing desk at the end of this live stream. So let's get back into what we've done. David Silk says the panning is working fine on YouTube, which is good to know. Actually, one thing I noticed, because Facebook for a very long time were only allowing streams to work in mono, which was a terrible shame, especially doing this audio production, that you couldn't on Facebook experience the full benefit of what I was doing in stereo. But I went back to their syncing credentials page where they tell you what rate you should be streaming in, and I happened to read that they updated their file to say you can now stream in 128 kilobits per second stereo. So if that's the case, if somebody watching on Facebook could let me know, is this going to the left and is this going to the right? If so, I would love to know if that's the case. Twitch, I'm not so sure about, and Periscope, I think you'd be lucky to get stereo on Periscope. Let's get back to what I was making, and I was going to tell you a little bit about pink and white noise, which is something you can easily generate. I've created tutorials about generating noise before, but just to let you know, if you're not already a member of the Mike Russell VIP channel, I highly recommend that you hop over there and subscribe, because I'm now starting to put out daily videos again on Mike Russell VIP, and we'll be covering in detail noise generation and what each different color of noise can do for you and your brain. But two of the best, especially for this kind of binaural beat generation, are pink and white noise. Now, white noise looks like this, and the funny thing about white noise is it is noise generated at the same energy on all the different frequencies, which is why the spectral frequency display, let me go back into screen share mode, is basically covered with red and yellow, showing intense noise across the audio spectrum. Whereas if I go to pink noise, you'll see a difference. I prefer actually pink noise. This is a hidden secret, going for pink noise as opposed to white noise. White noise is the thing that we usually go for, and of course it's something that you play to your baby when you're trying to get them to sleep at night and stuff. But I find pink noise easier on the ears because you get the intense low frequencies, and then it kind of gets quieter and quieter up to the high frequencies. We'll have a listen to the difference here. White noise. And then we got pink noise, which I prefer. Kind of got a much softer feel on the ear, and one of the best, although not necessarily audible, is grey noise. This is designed with the human ear in mind. A very soft kind of easy human sound there. But we'll go for pink noise, which is the sound of energy around us, around of heartbeats, the sound of cars, the sound of nature, the sound of everything. So you can create your own mini waterfall in this composition. Let's just mute this out for a second and drag in that newly generated pink noise. And remember what I was demonstrating yesterday, right click and loop, and we can create an infinite loop here of the white noise. So we'll drag that down in the mix. A very good question. Don LeBlanc is asking, since white noise is all frequencies, would black noise be silence? Very interesting. Very interesting. I don't know, actually. I've never come across black noise before. So I'm guessing it's kind of like a black hole or a void, isn't it? So it would be logical for that to be the case, wouldn't it? Now, if we didn't want to use the music bed we got here, we could actually go in to Logic. Let's find Logic for a second, and we could generate some nice tones to make our own kind of binaural beats tape. So let's choose an instrument here. Let's actually open up our library over here, and we'll go into Synthesizer. And we're going to go for, well, Soundscape is quite a good one because you've got lots of different style effects here. Let's create a MIDI region here. Make it nice and long. We can always end up looping. And then we'll go in. And that's interesting. I can't hear anything in Logic. Probably because I did not set up correctly yet my audio interface. Let's have a look. Yes, output device. Let's put it onto the Scarlett. There we go. Now we should be able to hear something because I did not mess about with Logic since I set up my new audio interface. Let's have a listen now. Any luck? We may well have to close and reopen Logic, I have a feeling. Okay, let's try that then. Logic Pro. And we'll have a play. Do keep your comments coming in, by the way. If you've got any questions that I can answer, I'll mention some more comments in around about 7 minutes from now. And then for the last 15 minutes, I might focus on deconstructing some of the music imaging that I did for a wonderful radio station called KFM in Rwanda in Africa. And now where's Logic? We got it here. So let us try and create a new file, and hopefully now the audio is all going to work. Software instruments, and yes, seems to be set up correctly now. So if we go into Synthesizer and we're going for Soundscape here, and we want that new MIDI region to be quite long. Let's bring it up to, there we go, and go into that MIDI region, and here we go. Now obviously have to select something here. Nice, okay. Let's zoom right out so we can make this go on for a little while. So what we can do very easily in Logic is create some really nice sounds. Keto, really appreciate you plugging the super chat there on YouTube. It's a fantastic way to support the show and encourage to keep these streams going because they do cost time and money, of course, to produce. But I enjoy doing them, and your support is gratefully received there on the super chat on YouTube. Right, so we've got something like that. We could put in another software instrument here, and just we'll bounce down a load of different ideas here. So again, we're going to go into Synthesizer and Soundscape and Pipe Ambience. Let's try that. Zoom this back in a little bit and have a listen. New MIDI region. There we go. Track that one out too. Maybe that's not quite what I want. It's a bit too intense. And let's drag this out and see what we end up with. Nice. Lovely sound. And we could start maybe to layer this up. Let's have a listen to how this sounds. So we've got that kind of nature kind of heartbeat. Let's now bounce these tracks out. Make this just a little bit longer so we get that nice reverb at the end. And file, export, and we want all tracks as audio files, so we get them in nice separate stems. Drop them into my downloads folder, and there it can be. Yep, that all looks good. Okay, so export. Let's do that. Okay, there it comes. Okay, so we've got the lost reverse, and we've got the plasticity as well. And we'll drag those now in. So originally I used a royalty-free music track, but what I can do is just move that out of the way for the moment and generate these sounds. Let's bring them in. Actually, let's create a couple of new tracks here. A new stereo track and another new track, new stereo audio track. There we go. We'll leave that in and we'll place that on mute. And these can come in here. Let's listen to how this sounds. So obviously that's quite low in the mix. What I'm going to do now is reset all the volumes to 0 on everything. And then I'm going to match the loudness of everything so that we get a nice uniform sound across the board. So here we go. This one, this one, this one, and this one. This one, and this one, and this one. And then just match clip loudness. We'll bring it all together nicely. Okie dokie. Give that a second to analyze. And here we go. Right, let's bring that white noise down. So there you go. So far we have created the most amazing introduction to a binaural beat, different state of mind sound, using tones in Adobe Audition, using Generate Noise. We've also hopped over into Logic Pro X to generate some kind of synthy sounds to make it sound kind of nice and chilled out and relaxing. We also decided that it would be possible if we'd like to use some royalty-free music like this. Have a look here. Let's get in close and have a listen to this. Play. And we also played around with the pitch here on the tones, as you can see. There's the pitch, and I've been changing that around here. So let's have a listen to When the Trance Begins, how it sounds. So lots and lots of fun. Obviously, you can have a play and make your own after watching this session with all of those different effects. Just before I get back to your comments and we get into the final 15 minutes of the show, I did want to let you know about something else that you can do, and that is the fact that you can go over here and you can hop in and create a multi-track session that is in 5.1. Let's find 5.1. Where are we? New multi-track session, and if I go to none here and then we choose to have 5.1 surround, you can actually use these wonderful panners here to move the tones all around you. So let me just drag, let's drag this in to a track, and with the 5.1 surround we can move this all around, and you should hear that going all around your head, but you can choose where in your head you'd like it to be, which is pretty interesting. So behind you, to the left-hand side, front and center to the right-hand side, and there is another great plugin you can get. It is, let me find it, over here, I believe. at noisemakers.fr. Discovered these guys recently. They create some fantastic audio plugins. This is something that I've just found, and I downloaded the free trial of which one is it now? The Binauralizer. And this is one I advise you to try out just because it's a very clean looking plugin. Really like the look of it. But essentially it works very similar to the 5.1 surround settings that you've got in Adobe Audition. But you get a nice head in the middle, and it's just very clean. They seem to make some very good plugins. So if you wanted to go and check out the Binauralizer and see what you think of that and some of their other plugins, just go to mrc.fm/Binauralizer. That's mrc.fm/Binauralizer. Vox Junction is in. Hi, Mike. You used to subscribe to the VIP channel, but recently unsubscribed. No updates for a while. Are you starting it back up again? Yes, absolutely. It is starting back up again. More content coming now regularly on Mike Russell VIP with daily tutorials, especially for VIP subscribers. So, yeah, absolutely. You can definitely expect much more content now from Mike Russell VIP. And if you wanted to go over and subscribe, mrc.fm/VIP. What else have we got here in the chat? Some interesting comments. Joe feels like his brain is going from left to right, bouncing around. Interesting. What else have we got in here? We got Don. Oh yes, we talked about black noise already. Thank you, Cato, for all the kind comments there in YouTube Live. Really appreciate that. For the final 15 minutes, though, now I think I will hop in to my session, and we'll change up the tone now for the last 10 or so minutes. And I would really like to play you, if I can find it, my multi-track session here for this hip music radio station, and maybe deconstruct some of the audio. So prepare to bring yourself out of trance and into imaging mode as I play you some of the audio and deconstruct it. This was one of my favorite imaging idents I made for the station KFM. Have a listen.
10 minutes of commercials in a row?
You must be looking for the other guys.
Hit songs in a row?
Now you're talking.
That's the point of difference.
So there we go, and what I'm going to do is try and focus in on the music tracks, and actually if we do a big zoom on that, you should be able to see what we have got here is what I'm going to do also is I'm going to solo those effects. So let's go on to that. Solo, 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 and you can listen just to the music mixes here. So there we go. So what's going on there? Well, first of all, we brought in the Selena Gomez with Kygo, It Ain't Easy. And then on this channel over here, let's go back into full view so you can see my effects rack. Let's go over to effects rack here. And you'll notice I've got a phaser going on this channel in particular. So let's solo that one out and have a listen to it. So that is just a simple phaser. Without the phaser on, obviously you get the original sound of the track. Let's switch that off and have a listen to it. So that's the original, and then with phaser applied. So it sounds rather good. And then over here on this track, we're making use of some studio reverb. So again, this is adding some nice decay. So whenever I'm doing music imaging, I love to use reverb when I've got, and particularly at the end of this bit too. There we go. And the same with the chain smokers. When we end this at the end, we've got a nice ending there. Of course, that's not the ending of the track, but I've increased the decay on the reverb quite dramatically towards the end, so it has that nice big powerful end, which is really nice. So that works well. And then over here, let's just have a big look at this one, and I can show you the effect on this channel as well. So you'll notice here on this channel we've got scientific filter, and I'm rolling off anything that's below 526 hertz. Anything below 526 hertz, so we get that real popping sound. And then that music imaging all goes together to make the final product, which I just played you, which is this one.
10 minutes of commercials in a row? No!
You must be looking for the other guys.
Hit songs in a row?
Now you're talking.
That's the point of difference.
Let's also have a listen to this one and see what we think.
All the hits all the time.
Kigali's Feel Good Station.
98.7 KFM.
That's just a standard sweeper there. What else have we got? Some more music imaging. Want to play you some music imaging?
Way more music. Way more music.
More hit music.
Right here on 98.7 KFM.
And again, if we zoom in now for a bit and zoom in and focus in on the... I've just gone to my green screen there. Didn't want to do that. Let's go into the tracks here and have a listen. Let's put those on solo and we can deconstruct this music imaging. So again, here we've got, initially we've got some phasing on track 5 here, and then we go into some reverb that comes in. And then that goes into, I believe, the intro to Katy Perry, so let's listen. And again, we've got the phasing right here on the turn it up bit of Katy Perry. So the intro bit, which then goes in on beat, that's mixed on beat there, as you can see, and it goes together like this. And again, it's your favorite song. If we check this one out on solo for a second, you'll hear the reverb on Katy Perry.
It's your favorite song.
So again, always making use of reverb when I make those transitions to make it all sound smooth. And another thing that's worth listening to is...
It's your favorite song.
There's a little stutter here, which you can see. So that's just a nice stutter to get into the next track that will sound something like this.
It's your favorite song. Let's go.
And that lovely scientific filter, actually, to be perfectionist, I could probably draw in a little fade out there. That sounds much better. The scientific filter is really bringing out Rihanna's voice very well. This is the original. And then scientific filter. So there we go. So that is the full music imaging on that one. And let's hop over, because I think I did make another music image, or maybe a couple of them actually. Let's have a listen to this one now in the multitrack, see how this sounds.
Weekends are better
When you get rid of the commercials.
More hits.
More hits every hour. This weekend.
And again, I think it would be lovely to, again, deconstruct that music imaging that is going on. So let's zoom in and pick apart each part. Again, I've got different presets on different tracks that I'm working with here. So we've got the initial
Get rid of the commercials.
Let's go on to solo. So we just soloed the music. So we start out with a little bit of Bruno Mars on phase. And then we go into scientific filter. And then, of course, David Guetta with Justin Timberlake. Here, we are around about here. I'm using some little area here to improve the volume of the reverb decay there. So that ends nicely again. And then finally, we fade back in the to you at the end, which is just standard with a little bit of reverb in the background. So that once you've pieced all those bits together with the imaging, you get something like this.
Weekends are better
When you get rid of the commercials.
More hits.
More hits every hour. This weekend.
And there it is in context. So there we go. And I'll play you just one more before I wrap up by reading your comments today. Really appreciate you being here and watching live. Very, very much appreciated. So we got this one. And this is one I was working on yesterday. I played it on the stream yesterday, but now I added in a bit of music imaging too.
24 hours of non-stop music as you work.
It can only be 98.7 AFM. Feel good.
So again, some specific tracks there, but mainly just keeping them in the background rather than pulling them up front in this track. And that's just to add a little bit of a musical element to that final sweep. So hopefully you enjoyed that little bonus here on the MRC live session today. Just a look into my studio and what I've been working on today. So wrapping up with your comments, Ravigo55 is wondering, how do you manage to have the rights for using commercial songs? Very good question. You should definitely not use commercial songs if you don't have a license to do so. When we're working with radio stations, all of these radio stations have licenses to play commercial music. How they work, that's how they operate. Let's go on to full screen, shall we? Let's do this. Go up and big if we can. That'd be quite nice. Hello. It's not working at the moment. Let's try that. Now it's working. There's the brainwave synchronizer over there. Get rid of that now. So yes, generally with radio stations, they have the licenses to play these songs, and if so, then we can generate jingles for them in that kind of sound. But obviously, if you are not a radio station, if you're a podcaster or a DJ, you just need to make sure you're covered for that kind of stuff. David, I was wondering, is match loudness to minus 16 LUF a form of compression or mathematical algorithm? It's like adding a hard limiter, David says, Caddo. Yeah, exactly. Well, what it's doing, let me show you actually in Audition, and I can close up on match loudness here, because I do use this fairly regularly, especially when I produce the podcast for this live stream. Let's undock this and move this into the middle and zoom in on it for a second. So this is your match loudness settings in Adobe Audition. And what I can do is I can drag and drop audio into there. Now, what it's doing to start with, if I do that, let me just drag something in, any sound will do. It is just moving the audio to a certain level. It's not actually compressing or altering the audio, it's just moving the audio around. But there is somewhere where, if I scroll down, you've also got the option to use true peak limiting, which is then indeed adding on some limiting to your audio. So for some reason I can't untick that. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I need to analyze the track. No, it's not letting me untick it for some reason. But peak limiting will, of course, alter the sound of your audio. If you just did loudness, matching loudness alone, it wouldn't compress or do anything like that at all. So hope that answers your question, David. What else have we got? Time for any more stuff in the last few seconds. A good day to Shamir. Definitely have to catch the replay. Limited to one subscription of Audition CC. Well, I hope you enjoy that. That's about all we have time for. So join me on Monday when we're back with another great session. And remember to go ahead, subscribe to the podcast as well at mrc.fm/podcast. Have a fantastic weekend ahead.